Hi. Welcome to Luna Listens to Books channel. If you like my channel, please like and subscribe. Now the story begins. My husband's dream girl, Sophie, just posted a sonogram on her social media. Her caption read, "Thank you to my dear friend for lending me some sperm when I was at my lowest. Now I can finally have my own baby." Silently, I hit like and left a comment, "Congrats to you both." Within seconds, my husband, Trenton, called livid. "It's just some sperm I lent to Sophie. Why are you blowing this out of proportion?" he barked. I calmly hung up. It was time for a divorce. My husband's dream girl, Sophie, just posted a sonogram on her social media. Her caption read, "Thank you to my dear friend for lending me some sperm when I was at my lowest. Now I can finally have my own baby." Silently, I hit like and left a comment, "Congrats to you both." Within seconds, my husband, Trenton, called livid. "It's just some sperm I lent to Sophie. Why are you blowing this out of proportion?" he barked. I calmly hung up. It was time for a divorce. I walked back inside the house only to be stopped by the kitchen help. "Ma'am, would you like some food?" She paused, taking a glance at me, then continued, "I know you need your strength for two." She smiled knowingly and my eyes widened. "What?" I whispered, "How did you know?" I walked closer to her and held her arm. "Tell me now, how did you know?" "I haven't told anyone." She whimpered, feeling the intensity of my gaze. "I just know, ma'am, your physique has changed. I wouldn't have noticed, but I see you every day. It's prone to happen that I notice." She rushed out. I panicked. "You can't tell anyone," I commanded her. She nodded eagerly, "I promise I won't." But I only held her arm even tighter. "You promise?" I asked again. She nodded, this time with tears in her eyes. "I promise on my life, I won't tell a soul." With that I released her, heaving a sigh of relief. No one can know, at least not now. I let the help go and I proceeded to the room while she scurried away. I placed my hand on my slightly swollen belly and took a deep breath, preparing to say goodbye to the baby I was carrying. I couldn't keep it now. But as soon as I opened my mouth, my voice cracked into sobs I could barely hold back. This baby was supposed to be a birthday surprise for Trenton. But it seemed he didn't need surprises from me anymore. I was 2 months pregnant. It had taken countless pleas for Trenton to agree to have a baby with me. He never liked intimacy and detested children. Always saying they were noisy, disruptive, and exhausting. Yet recently, I'd seen him scrolling through articles on preparing for a baby. He'd even stayed up late making 2 meticulous checklists, one for what a mother-to-be needs and another for baby essentials. I thought he'd finally figured out that I was pregnant, and I was thrilled like an idiot. But now, I knew those lists weren't meant for me. That night, Trenton came home unusually early. It was barely 8 p.m. normally. He didn't come home until after midnight. He called my name from the living room. I lay in bed, silent. When I didn't answer, he didn't call again. A few minutes later, I heard the shower running. He came into the bedroom after his shower, didn't turn on the lights, and quietly slipped into bed beside me. For the first time ever, he wrapped his arm around my waist, his touch warm and tingling. Then he buried his face into my neck, his voice unnervingly soft. "Babe, nothing happened between Sophie and me. I only wanted to help her fulfill her wish. She's always wanted a child, and I promise, once the baby's born, I'll cut all ties with her for good." I said nothing, just moved his hand off my waist and inched away from him. Feeling my coldness, he immediately grew defensive. "I'm making an effort here, and you're still not satisfied? Don't forget, you said my past didn't matter, that you just wanted to be with me. So stop acting like a jealous wife, all right? I could have kept this from you, but I told you out of respect. And now you're letting me down with all this emotions." He unleashed all his pent-up frustration, then threw a final line over his shoulder. "Think about how I've been treating you lately. You wanted a baby, and I cooperated. I'll be on the couch tonight." The door slammed behind him. I laughed at my pathetic marriage and at my own blindness. To him, an apology was a favor he was graciously giving me, a display of respect. And if I didn't forgive him, then I was just a petty, jealous wife. He could only treat me this way because I'd let him. My foolish love had built this entire mess, and now I was paying for it. Few minutes later he came inside. You should stop being a bitch about it, it's something selfless, Leslie. You should try it, it's called humanity. He picked his pillow and walked out. I scoffed at his retreating figure, selfless human, my ass. I whispered, willing sleep would come. Trenton was gone by the time I woke up the next morning. I knew exactly where he'd gone. For the past few days, he'd been leaving early and coming home late. His assistant, Leon, had called several times looking for him. Apparently, Trenton hadn't been showing up at the office. It didn't take much to figure out, he was with Sophie. After booking my appointment, I took a cab to the hospital. The abortion was over in less than 10 minutes. Ironically, as I was paying, I ran into Trenton. He was holding Sophie close, his face tight with concern as he looked at me. "Are you following me?" he demanded. I scoffed but didn't respond, instead glancing at Sophie. She immediately avoided my gaze, then tugged playfully at Trenton's ear. "Why would Leslie follow us? She's more mature than that." "Trent." With a few words, Sophie deftly shifted the blame onto me. I could only smile and reply, "Exactly. Why would I care about your little checkups?" My bluntness infuriated Trenton. He shoved me. "What's that supposed to mean? I only see Sophie as a sister." Having just come out of surgery, I was still weak, and I stumbled back in pain. Sophie knelt beside me immediately, pretending to scold Trenton while smirking in triumph at me. Disgusted, I pushed her away, trying to stand on my own. But as if on cue, she let herself fall, dramatically clutching her belly and crying out in pain. "My belly! Oh Trent, my belly!" she dramatically shouted. Trenton was immediately at her side, leaving me behind. "If anything happens to Sophie, I will never forgive you," he yelled. As I stood there, my body cold and drenched in sweat, I watched my husband walk away with another woman in his arms. In that moment, I was deeply grateful I hadn't kept our child. How could a man who didn't even care about his wife ever love her child? Back at home, I opened my phone to post something on social media, only to be interrupted by yet another one of Sophie's updates. This time, she'd posted a picture of Trenton's back with the caption, "There's nothing like feeling safe with a man who truly loves you." The comments from Trenton's friends poured in. "Chris, that doesn't look like your husband, lol. Greg, way to go you dude. Reclaiming your girl. Sam, oh, so you're the one donating the sperm? Congrats, man." Barely a second later, I saw Trenton's own comment, "Don't start rumors. I was just helping out. Are you trying to get me divorced?" And his friends responded in unison, "Got it, loud and clear." But Chris added one more, "Why worry? If she's the jealous type, then maybe it's time to end things. Everyone knows you've never really let go of Sophie. Just follow your heart." Chris had been Trenton's best friend since childhood and had never liked me, thinking I wasn't good enough for his friend. In his eyes, Sophie was perfection. Beautiful, sweet, understanding, and I could never compare. But now that my marriage was falling apart, I didn't need to keep up appearances anymore. I commented back, "Don't worry, the divorce is on its way. You won't have to babysit Trenton anymore." After that, I opened my profile, picked 2 photos, a positive pregnancy test and my discharge papers from the hospital after the abortion. I then posted, "Finally free." The second I hit post, my notifications blew up with likes and comments. Not a single one came from Trenton's friends, though. They were probably busy calling him to congratulate him on finally being free. In no time, my phone was ringing non-stop, calls from my parents, his parents, and even Trenton himself. I ignored all the calls, only sending a quick text to my parents. I'm coming home today. We'll talk when I get there. Packing took no time at all. As I was about to leave, Trenton's car pulled into the driveway. He stormed out, fury written all over his face. Leslie, what the hell is this? You abort our baby over a sperm donation that I did? Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant? He demanded. His accusations made me nauseous, but there was no point in arguing with him anymore. Ignoring his rage, I lifted my suitcase and started toward the door. He grabbed me roughly by the arm. Is this some kind of sick joke? I already told you, once she has the baby, I'm done with her. I'm doing this for you. Why are you pushing me? His words echoed in my head. I couldn't hold back any longer and slapped him, hard. Don't ruin your pure love just for me, I sneered. Chris was right, you should just follow your heart. What do you need with a jealous wife like me? Go find someone more understanding. I spat. The divorce papers are on their way. Make sure to sign them. With a final shake of my arm, I pulled free, opened the door, and walked out without looking back. Behind me, his shouting continued, You'll regret this, Leslie. You're making a huge mistake. But I had no regrets. If anything, I was grateful. I was finally free. At my parents' house, I barely got through the door before my mom wrapped me in a tight hug, her eyes red and swollen. She must have been crying. My dad, stoic as ever, asked, What happened, Leslie? I didn't hold anything back, I told them everything. The lies, the sperm donor arrangement, and my decision to end the pregnancy. My mother cried harder, pulling me even closer, while my father just sighed, looking as if he'd aged 10 years in that moment. You did the right thing, sweetheart, he finally said, his voice quiet but firm. He was never good enough for you. I choked back a sob, finally letting the pain out as I buried my face in my mom's shoulder. For years, my parents had tried to warn me that Trenton didn't truly love me. But I'd been stubborn, convinced I could make him love me if I tried hard enough. It had taken me 7 years to get him to even consider a relationship, and I thought that meant something, but now, after 10 wasted years, I knew that some things just couldn't be forced. I waited days, weeks even, for Trenton to sign the divorce papers. He'd ignored every message, every call from my lawyer. It wasn't until I threatened legal action that he finally, begrudgingly, agreed to meet. He messaged me, I'll pick you up tomorrow. And I'll make sure Chris and the others apologize, too. We'll clear this whole mess up. I responded simply, bring Sophie. I wanted them both there. If he thought I was just going to forgive him, he was wrong. The next day, Trenton pulled up in front of my parents' house, and, as expected, Sophie was seated smugly in the passenger seat. Sorry, Leslie, I get car sick in the back, she said sweetly, with a slight smirk. No problem, I replied, smiling. Before, her words would have stung, but now, neither she nor Trenton could get a rise out of me. We arrived at the restaurant where Trenton's friends were already waiting. Chris was the first to approach me, feigning warmth as he led me to a seat beside him. Come on, Les, sit here so I can properly apologize, he said, his tone carrying more arrogance than remorse. Once everyone was seated, Chris poured a drink, raised it toward me, and, after downing it, looked at me with his signature smirk. Les, I'm sorry I said what I did. I just want the best for my best friend, you know? I gave him a tight smile, but my patience was already thinning. One by one, the others mumbled apologies, each sounding less sincere than the last. Trenton tried to play the peacemaker, urging everyone to move on and enjoy dinner. But before anyone could start eating, Sophie raised her glass of juice, standing to face me. Les, I owe you an apology, too, she said, her voice syrupy. I'm so sorry that my connection with Trenton caused you pain. But, you know, he's just always had a special place in his heart for me. I hope you understand. Trenton quickly hushed her. Sophie, you don't have to apologize. This is my fault. He then looked at me, his face solemn. I'm sorry, Leslie. I handled this all wrong. Good, I replied. Now, I have someone else who needs to hear these apologies. At my words, the doors opened, and Sophie's husband, Eric, strode in, looking grim. Everyone was shocked. Eric. What are you doing here? Sophie gasped, her face draining of color. I invited him, I said calmly, gesturing for him to sit. You wanted an apology, didn't you, Eric? Trenton's face contorted in anger. Leslie, what's the point of all this? Are you trying to embarrass me? Ignoring him, I turned to Eric. I thought you deserved to hear the truth. I thought you should know how your wife decided she needed to use someone familiar, a past lover, actually, for her donation. Eric's face darkened, his fists clenched as he glared at Sophie. When she tried to stammer out an excuse, he slapped her hand away. Is this what you meant by sperm donation, Sophie? Using your ex to have a child behind my back? Trenton, in a weak attempt to defend her, said, Eric, it's not what you think. I was just helping her. We never did anything inappropriate. Eric snorted, barely holding back a punch. Helping her? Like the times she needed you at night because she's afraid of thunder? Or how she needed you to comfort her after our arguments? You've been playing her second husband for years. Sophie tried to intervene, reaching out to stop him. Eric, don't hit him. You know why we had to do this, because you can't give me a child. Eric's face turned red with rage, his eyes like ice. Then why not go to a clinic? Why choose him, of all people? Because I wanted a child with someone I truly loved, she whispered, finally admitting what everyone already knew. I stood off to the side, arms crossed, watching the scene unfold. She had finally said it. Just then, I caught a glimpse of Eric's face, his rage barely contained. Before anyone could react, his fist shot out, landing squarely on Trenton's jaw. Trenton stumbled back, his face red, clutching his cheek. Sophie cried out and leapt between them, blocking Eric with her arms. How dare you hit him? This isn't his fault. It's because you can't give me what I need. Eric's hands clenched tighter, his face flushed. So, finding someone else to hurt me was your solution? Someone I trusted? Sophie just shook her head, refusing to budge. I wasn't going to settle for a stranger. I wanted a child with someone I cared about. From the sidelines, I couldn't help but let out a dry laugh. Finally, everything was out in the open. Eric's face turned a shade darker at her words, his anger rising even further. Without a word, he pulled his fist back again and threw another punch. Seeing what was coming, I quietly slipped out of the room, letting the chaos and shouting fade behind me. I had barely made it home when I received a call from the police. They asked if I could come in to give a statement about what had happened. When I arrived at the station, I saw Trenton and his friends, faces bruised and angry. Trenton glared at me with unbridled fury, but his friend Chris held him back, shooting me a warning look. I simply raised an eyebrow, following the officer into the interview room. After finishing my statement, I was told that Sophie was hospitalized, having shown signs of a possible miscarriage. Trenton and his friends, meanwhile, faced a night in holding. It wasn't until a week later that I saw Trenton again, when he asked to meet and finalize the divorce. However, instead of heading to the lawyer's office, he drove to our old house. Suspicious, I asked. What's going on here? His face hardened. If you want a divorce, then you'll go inside and apologize to Sophie. What? The moment Trenton uttered those words, I almost laughed. Apologize? I repeated, staring at him like he had lost his mind. He leaned against the car, arms crossed, looking smug despite the bruises Eric had generously left on his face. His right eye was swollen, his lip busted, and yet, he still had the audacity to stand there like a man with leverage. You heard me, he said. Tell Sophie you're sorry, and I'll give you your divorce. I scoffed. Of course, he was protecting her. I wasn't even surprised. Sophie had nowhere else to go. Eric must have thrown her out the moment I dropped the bombshell. And now, she was here, playing the fragile victim while my idiot of a husband played her knight in shining armor. I opened the car door, stepping out. Trenton, I don't need your permission to leave you. I turned to walk away, my heels crunching against the gravel of the driveway. Then, the front door slammed open. You. Sophie. She was standing there, barefoot, wrapped in a silk robe like a hobo, a homeless crazy person. Her face was tear-streaked, her hair was a total mess, but her eyes, they were filled with rage. Why is she angry? I questioned myself and soon enough I got my answer. You ruined everything, she screamed. Because of you, I lost my baby. I stopped in my tracks. My fingers curled into fists. Oh. So now it was my fault? Trenton rushed to her, holding her as she sobbed dramatically against his chest. Pathetic. I tilted my head, exhaling sharply. You're blaming me? Really? Sophie snapped. If you hadn't told Eric, he wouldn't have hurt Trenton. If he hadn't hurt Trenton, I wouldn't have been stressed. And if I wasn't stressed, I wouldn't have lost my child. I felt a cold, sharp rage settle in my chest. I took a slow step toward her, my voice dangerously calm. Sophie, let me get this straight. You spread your legs for my husband, got knocked up, and now that karma slapped you back, you want to make me the villain? She gasped. Trenton's face twisted in anger. Leslie, that's enough. No, shut up. I turned my glare on him. You don't get to police me after the mess you made. Sophie trembled. I hate you. I smirked. Trust me, sweetheart, the feeling is mutual. As I intended to walk away, in a blur I saw her bring out a knife from behind her and launched at me. You bitch. I'll kill you. She shouted, making my eyes widen as I took several steps away from her. Put the knife down, no one has to get hurt, Sophie. I screamed at her, looking over at Trenton for some help. But, the man stood there and watched with pride? In his eyes. Don't hurt yourself, sophomore. His tone was encouraging and I knew he was edging her on. The only person getting hurt today is this bitch. She shook her head as she pointed the knife at me. Abruptly, she dropped the knife, making me sigh in relief, but my breath got caught in my throat as she reached behind her once more and brought out a gun. I am done for. Get inside. Her voice sounded dangerously low, I had no choice but to oblige. Sit. She all but commanded me. Trembling, I sat, feeling like a kid in the principal's office. Why are you doing this, Sophie? I asked, eyeing the place I once called home and all the changes that had occurred to it in the little time I've left it. Just fucking apologize already. Trenton's voice cut through. Sophie flinched a little, but quickly masked it up. Why? Yeah, what he said. Apologize for my baby and me. Just say the word and you can leave. He repeated. Shooting him an angry look, never. I insisted. I could still hear Trenton's footsteps fading away, his parting words echoing in my head. You know what to do if you want to leave. The bastard. Sophie was still gripping the gun, her fingers twitching like she was battling demons only she could see. Her pacing had become erratic, her breath uneven. She looked wild. I knew one wrong move could push her over the edge. My mind raced for an escape, but every scenario ended with a bullet in my chest, and I can't have that. Then my phone rang. Sophie's head snapped up, her grip tightening on the gun. Don't pick it, she hissed. I held up a hand, keeping my voice steady. If I don't, they'll get suspicious. Let me answer. I'll keep it normal. She hesitated. Her eyes darted to my phone, then back to me. Fine, she said. But no funny business. I nodded and picked up. Hello? My voice was forced calm. Leslie. Hey, girl, we still on for later? Vincent's voice was casual, but I heard the underlying curiosity in his tone. I forced a light chuckle, keeping my tone steady. Of course. I can't wait. My eyes flicked to Sophie. She was still pacing, still distracted. Think fast. I might be a little late though. Something came up unexpectedly, I said, emphasizing the last word. There was a beat of silence. Then Vincent's voice lowered. Are you okay? Sophie's head snapped toward me, suspicion flaring in her eyes. I quickly plastered on a fake smile, forcing out a laugh. Oh, yeah. Just a little tied up right now. Vincent was smart. He'd catch on. Sophie narrowed her eyes. Hang up. I nodded and ended the call, praying Vincent got the message. Now, all I had to do was survive until he showed up. Sophie smirked, her paranoia dimming slightly. Good girl. Now, sit down. I obeyed, but my mind was already working. If Vincent was coming, I just needed to buy time. And not get shot in the process. Suddenly, a knock came through the front door and it was persistent. My heart raced as I prayed that Sophie leave to check it out. I didn't need to pray for long, and she put the gun at the back of her trouser and went to the front door. Immediately she left, I stood and ventured towards the window, ready to make my escape. I was halfway outside when her voice came through. Where do you think you're going? I wanted to reply, but the ringing in my ear prevented it, and before I knew it, darkness became my friend and I succumbed to it. Everything was a blur. I was floating, weightless, lost in an endless sea of darkness. Voices came and went like distant echoes, too far to grasp, too close to ignore. My body felt heavy, like it didn't belong to me anymore. Then, light. A sliver of it. A voice. Leslie, sweetheart. Can you hear me? Mom. I tried to move, to speak, to let her know I was here, but nothing happened. My lips wouldn't part. My fingers wouldn't twitch. I was trapped in this still, useless body. A hand brushed against mine. Warm. Familiar. Dad. Baby, we're here. We're not leaving. His voice was thick, choked with emotion. I wanted to squeeze his hand. Wanted to tell him I wasn't gone. But my body didn't listen. Then the light faded. The voices dimmed. Silence. Time didn't exist here. I drifted in and out, slipping between the real world and the void. Sometimes I heard nurses. The beeping of machines. The sound of footsteps pacing the floor. Other times, I was drowning in nothingness. Then, suddenly, pain. It ripped through my chest, sharp and unforgiving. A groan tried to escape my lips, but all that came was a weak breath. Leslie? Mom's voice cracked. Oh my God, she moved. A chair scraped. Someone stood up too fast. Get the doctor. Dad's voice, urgent, desperate. I tried again. My fingers twitched. My eyelids fluttered, but they felt like they were made of stone. Come on, sweetheart, wake up, Mom pleaded. I fought. I pushed through the fog. Through the pain, through the weight of whatever was holding me under. Then, finally, my eyes opened. Blinding light. Blurry faces. The smell of a hospital room. Mom gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks. Welcome back, sweetheart, Dad whispered, gripping my hand. I swallowed, my throat raw, my voice barely there. What happened? Their faces darkened. And just like that, the memories came crashing back. That bitch. She shot me. After the doctor examined me and said I was on the road to recovery, I asked what happened again, but as my mother was about to explain, the door pushed open and Vincent walked in. His eyes widened as he saw me sitting up and chatting with my parents. You're awake. He beamed and rushed towards me. I'm sorry, Vincent, I should have called you, I guess I was so happy. My mom apologized. It's all right, ma'am, I'm just glad she's okay. He held my hand and I could feel a shift in him. He looked genuinely relieved that I was okay. Miss me? I joked, but his eyes glazed over. Don't do that to me, Les, my heart is fragile. But I thought he was joking. Don't worry, I don't plan on dying anytime soon. I laughed and he chuckled too. We joked around for a bit until he got serious. I had a question at the tip of my tongue, but I didn't want to know the answer. Leslie, Vincent started, rubbing the back of my palm with GI's thumb. You know that I was really scared when I heard you were shot. I nodded, turning my hand so I can hold his. I'm sorry. I said. Nodding, he opened his mouth to continue talking. I really. Leslie. You're awake. Oh, I'm so happy, no one would tell me anything. The man said, looking genuinely happy that I was fine. Who is this? I asked Vincent. Who are you? I asked the strange man. Both their eyes widened. What? They said simultaneously. I looked from one man to another. Who is he? I asked Vincent again, and as he was about to answer me, the man spoke up. Leslie, I'm your husband. You're my wife. He whispered, moving forward. I'm married? I giggled. Something I didn't know I was capable of. And to a handsome man too. I covered my mouth with my palm, not bothering to conceal the fact that I was staring at the man shamelessly. The drugs kicked in few minutes later and I slept off. She didn't remember me. I stood frozen by the hospital bed, watching Leslie's confused expression as she glanced between me, her parents, and Vincent. The doctor's words echoing in mind. Selective amnesia. Caused by trauma. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. Leslie shifted in the bed, her fingers weakly curling around the blanket as she looked at me again. How do I know you? Vincent's jaw clenched, but he forced a smile. He told you, you're married to him. Her eaves shone with uncertainty. Like she was trying to piece together a puzzle with missing parts. Oh. I swallowed hard. Remember? My voice came out rough, strained. She turned her gaze to me. Studied my face. Nothing. No recognition. No spark of familiarity. Just polite confusion, like I was a stranger off the street. My heart pounded against my ribs. This was a joke. A sick, twisted joke. Leslie, I tried again, stepping closer. It's me. Trenton. Her brows furrowed slightly, and for a second, I thought she remembered. But all she said was, I'm sorry. I don't know you. I flinched. A sharp exhale came from her father. Her mother wiped at her eyes, looking at the doctor as if she could will him to say something different. Are you sure? I asked, desperate now. We've known each other for years. I swallowed, lowering my voice. You're my wife. Maybe this could be a perfect opportunity to talk her out of a divorce. Perhaps start again. Leslie gave a tired half-smile, like she was trying to be polite. I don't feel anything toward you. That made it worse. The doctor stepped forward. Mr. Trenton, I understand how difficult this must be, but please, let me explain. I barely heard him. My eyes were locked on Leslie, searching for something, anything to prove she was lying, that this was some elaborate mind game she was playing to get back at me. But all I saw was sincerity. She really didn't remember. The doctor sighed, adjusting his glasses. Selective amnesia is common in cases of severe emotional or physical trauma. The brain represses certain memories as a defense mechanism. Leslie's mother sniffled. So, she's blocking out Trenton? The doctor nodded. It appears so. Whatever trauma she endured is directly linked to him. Her mind has erased him to protect itself. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Vincent crossed his arms. So what now? Does she ever get her memory back? The doctor hesitated. It depends. Sometimes memories resurface on their own, triggered by familiar places, faces, or emotions. Other times, they never return. My stomach dropped. Never? Leslie might never remember me? I rubbed a hand down my face, forcing myself to stay calm. But she remembers everyone else? Yes. The doctor glanced at Leslie. She still retains most of her long-term memory. It's only specific to you. Of course, it was. A bitter laugh almost escaped my lips. Leslie, the woman who once refused to forgive, who held grudges like trophies, had managed to erase me completely. I had done something so unforgivable, so damaging, that her mind decided I wasn't worth remembering. Vincent gave me a long, unreadable look before stepping forward. "You feeling okay?" he asked Leslie gently. She nodded slowly. "I think so. Just tired." Her mother ran a hand through Leslie's hair. "That's okay, sweetheart. You rest." Leslie's eyes flicked back to me briefly, still blank, still distant. Then she leaned back against the pillow, her body relaxing. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I just stood there. "I think you should leave." Then the words I dreaded the most came out. "Leave? No, sir, this is my opportunity and I'm grabbing it." The hospital room was suffocating and I needed to go out, just for a few minutes. I swung my legs off the bed. My parents had stepped out to get coffee, and Vincent had gone to take a call, which meant I was alone. Perfect. If they were there, they would insist I stay in bed. I pushed myself up, wobbling slightly before steadying. My body still felt weak, but I could manage. A short walk down. The corridor wouldn't kill me. Maybe I was getting better. Maybe soon, I could go home. Or maybe the handsome man who called himself my husband would visit again. Lost in my thoughts, I turned a corner and slammed straight into someone. My body tilted backward, and before I could catch myself, my head cracked against the hard hospital floor. Pain exploded in my head then, flashes. Trenton. The way he looked at me the first time we met. The way he smirked like he owned the world. The way his voice dripped with arrogance every time he spoke. The way he betrayed me. Memories crashed into me all at once, rapid and unforgiving. Sophie. The gun. The fear in my chest. The way Trenton just stood there, letting it happen. I gasped as everything came rushing in. I remembered. Leslie. Are you okay? Voices was too much around me, hands gripping my arms, my shoulders. Someone was calling for a doctor, but I barely heard them. Trenton. I remembered everything. I was lifted onto a stretcher. I remembered. I hated him. I hated her. Sophie. The woman who pointed a coon at me. Who made my life hell. Who destroyed everything. She should be in aisle by now. That bitch. I squeezed my eyes shut as the hospital staff laid me back onto the bed. My mother's frantic voice cut through the noise, and I forced myself to breathe. I needed to think. I needed to process. What should I do? Minutes passed. Maybe an hour. The commotion settled, and finally, I was alone again. The door creaked open. I turned my head, and there he was, Trenton. You okay? His voice was quiet, but confident. I did not answer. I was genuinely contemplating standing up and screaming in his face that I remember it all. His betrayal, but here he was wanting to parade our happy marriage. God forbid. He sighed, stepping inside. Look, I know you don't remember me, but... I let him talk. Let him believe his own lie. Let him think I was still the same clueless, memory-wiped girl from before. I watched as he walked toward my bed, still unaware. And then, I felt it before I saw it. The door had not closed, and standing in the hallway was Sophie. standing there like nothing had happened. She looked smug, making my blood run cold. Why the fuck isn't she in jail? I screamed at Trenton and flinched when he tried to touch me. His eyes widened, you remember? Damn right, bastard. I couldn't stop my hands from trembling as I stared at the door where Sophie smirked at me victoriously. Our baby survived, Trent, nothing has to happen now. She smiled and I looked from her to Trent, hoping he would defend me, but like always. He was a bastard. She used connections to escape jail and you let her, then you come here to tell me you're my husband? I scoffed. Sophie's eyes snapped to him, what? She then stormed out of the hospital room. You don't, I have. Trenton stuttered, torn between explaining to me and walking after Sophie. I gave a bitter smile as I watched him leave. Before he could cross the door threshold, I called him back, sign the papers, Trent. If you know what's good for you. After signing the divorce papers, I stood there, in my room, thinking about the way forward. Leslie? I turned and saw Vincent standing at the door, his brow furrowed with concern. We became close, and though I could tell he cared about me, I wasn't ready to let anyone in. Not yet. Hey, I said, forcing a smile. What's up? You've been avoiding the calls, he said, his voice gentle. I know it's a lot, but you can't keep burying yourself at home, Leslie. I need time, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I need to figure out what's next. You don't have to do it alone, Vincent said, stepping closer, his hand resting lightly on my shoulder. You know that, right? I looked up at him and bit my lip, forcing myself to look away. I can't, Vincent. You don't understand. You don't know what it feels like to be thrown aside for someone else. To realize you were never the one he truly wanted. His fingers gently tilted my chin upward, making me meet his eyes. Leslie, you're not just some afterthought. I don't know the pain you've gone through, but I do know that you're worth more than this. You deserve better. I stepped back, shaking my head. I appreciate what you're trying to do, Vincent, but I need space. I need to be alone to figure out who I am without him. He let out a quiet sigh but didn't press further. All right. But you don't have to do it alone. If you change your mind, I'm here. And with that, he left. Few minutes later, I left the house to get something down the street when I felt it. Someone was watching me. At first, I dismissed the sensation, brushing it off as nothing more than paranoia. But the longer I sat there, the more the feeling grew. There was no mistaking it now. Someone was following me. I couldn't pinpoint it, couldn't see anyone lurking in the shadows, but it was there. The feeling of eyes on my back. I grabbed my phone, dialing Vincent's number immediately. He answered almost on impulse. Leslie? Something's wrong, I said. I think someone's following me. Where are you right now? He asked, his tone immediately protective. I'm at that cafe down the street to my parents' house, but I'm on my way home now. I muttered, glancing nervously around place. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But I swear I feel like someone's watching me. Meet you there, I'm coming over. I hung up the phone, my heart racing. As I quickened my steps to get home fast. I quickly shut the doors behind me and slid onto the floor. A knock on the door. Frozen, I stared at the door as my mind raced. Who could it be? Vincent? Or someone else? I took a deep breath and walked toward the door, my hand trembling as I reached for the knob. And then, I opened it. My heart almost dropped. Oh hi. Mr. J. My heart was beating very fast as I stared at my parents' neighbor. Oh dear, I thought that was you that I saw at the cafe. I was trying to call you but you seemed to be in a hurry. He smiled at me, making me facepalm at my paranoia. That was you. I exclaimed and cue, Vincent arrived. Are you okay? He breathed, giving me a once-over. I smiled sweetly. I'm fine. They turned to Mr. J. Nice to see you. Dismissing him. Of course, dear. With that, he left soon after. My parents arrived and I told them my plan of moving in with Vincent. There is no way I would allow that. My father's look was outrageous. Dear, calm down. My mother tried to soothe him, but it did nothing. Dad, it was bound to happen anyway. Listen, I'm fine and everything will be okay. I just need to focus on myself and my career for a little while now. I would really appreciate your support. That seemed to chastise him. Of course, you have my support always. His face softened and he pulled me in for a hug. The moving was hectic, so was adjusting to Vincent's place. He was really generous and had nothing to complain about, for that I was grateful. Tonight though, I was trying to relax. It wasn't easy, but I wanted to. My favorite glass of wine sat on the coffee table in front of me, and I tucked my feet beneath me on the couch, flipping through Netflix as Vincent moved around the kitchen. What's for dinner? I asked, leaning back and crossing my arms, trying to act casual. Vincent's voice came from behind the counter, smooth and warm. Your favorite. Spaghetti with garlic bread. I figured I would spoil you tonight. I smiled. That sounds perfect, I replied, my voice softer than I intended, closing my eyes. You know, he began, and I could hear the hesitation in his tone. I've been thinking about something. I opened my eyes and turned my head toward him. What is it? I asked, leaning forward. Vincent set down the wooden spoon he had been stirring with and slowly turned to face me. His gaze softened, and for the first time in a while, he seemed unsure of himself. I think you deserve to know this, he said. His voice quiet. I've been hiding it for a while now, and I don't want to keep it from you anymore. I felt my heart start to race. What are you talking about? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He sighed and stepped closer, standing directly in front of me now. I've had feelings for you, Leslie, he confessed, his voice low and sincere. Since the first time we met. My stomach dropped, my mind raced. What? I whispered, unsure if I had heard him correctly. Vincent, you can't be serious. We're friends. You've been nothing but supportive and I appreciate that, but… Exactly, he interrupted, his hands reaching out to gently lift my chin so that our eyes met. And I've been trying to ignore it. Trying to keep it in check, because I didn't want to push you. I didn't want to ruin the friendship we have. I never wanted to make you uncomfortable, he continued. But I can't pretend anymore, Leslie. I care about you. I've cared about you for a long time, and I'm not going to keep hiding it. Not now. I didn't know what to say. The truth was, I had noticed it. I had noticed the little things. But I had ignored it. I had buried it under layers of grief and betrayal because I didn't want to open myself up to anyone again. But Vincent was different. And maybe that scared me more than anything else. I didn't know, I murmured. I didn't think you saw me like that. I've always seen you, Leslie, he said. But I've never forced you. I've let you take your time, heal from everything. But you deserve to be happy. You deserve someone who'll treat you the way you should have been treated from the start. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes. Why did everything feel so complicated? Why couldn't I just forget about Trenton, about Sophie, and let myself feel what Vincent was offering me? I reached up, my fingers brushing against his chest. His heart was beating rapidly under my touch, and I realized he wasn't just saying this to make me feel better. He meant it. I don't know if I can do this. I whispered, my voice breaking. I don't know if I can open myself up again. Vincent nodded slowly, his hand gently cupping my face. I'm not asking you to make a decision now. I just want you to know that I'm here. I'll always be here. And with that, I knew. It wasn't an answer, not yet, but it was something. It was a beginning. I opened my mouth to say something when my phone abruptly rang. It was an email from my least expected sender. My day just took the right turn. I jumped up and down after reading the email again and again. Soon, Vincent shut the stove off and joined me in jumping up and down. "I don't know what's happening, but I like the smile on your face," he said with a goofy smile. I chuckled, getting closer to him. "It's my sketches, they accepted it. The company wants me to come in tomorrow for finalizing the deal. This is the best day of my life." I screamed and jumped on Vincent. He didn't hesitate to catch me and hold me close to him. I looked straight into his eyes and I saw sincerity of his emotions. His truth. And mine came rushing in. I couldn't help but lean in, my eyes closed and lips puckered. His lips was exactly as I imagined, soft, but demanding. The kiss was everything I needed at that moment. Hot. Unbothered, and he poured everything into it. I almost lost myself into him when I remembered the terms of our situation. I abruptly snatched myself from his arms, wiping my mouth aggressively. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. Vincent. I didn't mean to." I looked down, not feeling very confident. His eyes widened. "I'm sorry too. I'm really sorry. I don't want you to think that I wanted to take advantage of the situation less. I'm really sorry." I chuckled nervously. "It's fine. Let's forget it ever happened." He looked like he got punched in the guts by my statement. "Right, forget it ever happened. That great." He chuckled dryly. "Come on, let's eat." Without another glance at me, he left to set the table, leaving me to awkwardly fidget with my phone as I reread the email. I couldn't believe it, but here I was standing in their beautiful lobby, waiting for the CEO to confirm what I already hoped was true. I finally met him. "Ms. Leslie," he greeted, rising from his chair to shake my hand. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person." I returned the handshake. "Thank you, Mr. Daniels. It's a pleasure to be here. Please, call me Robert," he said, guiding me to a seat. "I've had a chance to review your sketches, and I must say, they're impressive. You've got an eye for detail, and your designs are exactly what we need for our upcoming projects." I couldn't stop the smile that spread across my face. This was it. This was the moment I'd been waiting for, the one where everything felt like it might finally go right. "Thank you," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm so glad you like them." Robert's expression softened, and I could see the genuine admiration in his eyes. "We'd like to move forward with you, Miss Carter. We want you to continue working with us and help us bring these designs to life. You've got the vision we're looking for." I blinked, stunned by his words. You mean it?" "Absolutely. We believe you'll be a great fit for this project. We would like you to come on board and work with our team full-time, starting as soon as you're available." I smiled. "Thank you so much," finally managed to say. "I won't disappoint you." "We know you won't," Robert said, smiling as he handed me a contract. "You'll be joining us at a very exciting time. The team is eager to get started." I took the contract. Still on cloud nine, it felt like the first good thing to happen to me in ages. I was finally being recognized for something I loved, something that wasn't tied to Trenton or anyone else. This was my achievement. After a few more details were finalized, I walked out of the building, my mind full with plans and ideas. I had done it. I was starting a new chapter in my life. But as I stepped onto the road, I noticed something that made my heart skip. I felt eyes on me. I quickly brushed it off. It was probably nothing. Just someone passing by, maybe someone recognizing me, a simple coincidence. But the feeling didn't go away. In fact, it intensified. I glanced around, trying to shake off the unease, but I couldn't ignore it. Someone was watching me. Shaking my head, I brushed it off. It was just paranoia. Everything had been going so well, why should I ruin it by overthinking? I decided to stop by the diner on the corner to grab some food for Vincent and me. He had been so patient, so kind to me since I moved in, and I wanted to do something nice for him. As I pushed the door open, in the corner of the diner was a figure in a black hoodie. He was seated alone, and I swear I saw him glance in my direction before quickly looking away. I told myself it was nothing. It had to be. The man didn't even appear to be eating. He just sat there with his head low. I forced myself to turn away and focus on the diner staff, who were going on about preparing my orders. I tried to breathe deeply to calm myself. But the man in the hoodie didn't leave. And as I turned to grab the bags of food, I noticed he had gotten up from his seat and was standing near the door. My heart skipped. Was he waiting for me to leave? I quickly paid for the food, grabbed the bags, and turned toward the exit, my eyes darting toward the man one more time. I didn't give him the chance to follow me. The door swung open, and I practically rushed outside. I needed to get home. I needed to feel safe again. By the time I reached the front door of Vincent's apartment building, I didn't stop to breathe until I was inside. I slammed the door behind me, my heart pumping at full strength. I leaned against the door, trying to steady my breathing. Someone was watching me. Someone was waiting for me. I wasn't sure who or why. But I knew this was just the beginning. The next week passed by in a blur, but the eventful thing that happened was Trenton calling me while he was drunk. "Hello," I answered the unknown caller thinking it was work. "I asked your parents where you are, they wouldn't tell me, Leslie. No one would tell me anything." He screamed into the phone. "Trent, stop calling me. I owe you nothing, we are over." I snapped at him. But, he chuckled, "Never. I will find you myself, Leslie. If that's what I have to do." Then he hung up. I shook my head and resumed my work. Trenton. That bastard. In the next few days, Vincent left for a meeting, and I was alone. Settling at the small desk by the window, I spread out my sketches, ready to work. I was so engrossed with what I was doing when a knock sounded at the door. I rose, my heart racing, and opened the door to find no one. What the? A small, unmarked envelope lay on the doorstep. Kneeling, I picked it up, turning it over in my hands. The paper was thick, the handwriting elegant, but unfamiliar. Maybe it's from the office. I mumbled, opening it. Inside, the letter began, "Leslie. I told you I would find you. Did you think I was joking?" "What?" I said as I got a chill. "Is Trenton serious right now? You made a vow, Leslie. I'm only here to uphold it. In sickness and in health, remember?" The words blurred as panic surged within me. This couldn't be real. If this was a prank, Trenton had me spooked. I quickly searched for my phone and dialed his number. "What the hell, Trent? You're better than this." I screamed the moment the call connected. "What?" he asked confusedly. I sighed, "Don't what me. I don't care what you want. We are over, stop sending me stupid letters and calling me unnecessarily." I wanted to slap him through the phone, but his words stopped me. "What the fuck are you talking about?" He sounded angry, but as I was about to explain, Sophie's voice cut through. "Stay away from him, slut." I scoffed, watching my phone as they hung up on me. Then it dawned on me. He was supposed to be dead. I told myself, slumping onto the nearest chair. He's dead, right? No. Oh my God, no. The letter slipping from my fingers. My breath came in shallow gasps, each inhale a struggle. The room felt suffocating, the walls closing in. I had to make sense of this. I had to understand what was happening. Grabbing my phone again, I dialed Vincent's number, my hands trembling. "Vincent," I said when he answered. "I need you to come home. Now." "What's wrong?" he asked, concern evident in his tone. I can't explain over the phone, I replied, my eyes scanning the apartment as if expecting him to appear from the shadows. Just hurry. I ended the call and paced the room, my mind full of fears. The letter, those words, haunted me. How did he know? How could he be alive? Only he knew about that part of me. Only him. But, he's dead, isn't he? Vincent finally returned. He found me standing by the window, staring out but seeing nothing. Leslie, he said gently, placing a hand on my shoulder. Talk to me. I turned to face him, my eyes welling with unshed tears. I'm in trouble, I whispered. My past. He's alive. Vincent's brow furrowed in confusion. Trent? Of course he's alive. He trailed off when he saw the look on my face. What are you talking about? I handed him the letter, watching his expression changed. Did Trent send this? He asked, but I shook my head no. Leslie, this is serious, he said, his voice low. We need to contact the authorities. No, I replied quickly, shaking my head. I can't involve the police. Not yet. I need to understand what's happening first. Vincent studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay. Whatever you need. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Thank you. The rest of the day passed with Vincent insisting on staying home, refusing to leave me alone. The days that followed were filled with tension and gnawing fear. I received no more letters, no signs of his presence, but the fear remained. And then, one evening, the night was almost here, I was already feeling thankful for another day without any letter. A knock sounded at the door. My heart stopped. Slowly, I approached. Taking a deep breath, I opened it. Nothing. But there, on the doorstep, was another envelope. I picked it up, my hands shaking, and opened it. It read, Leslie. I told you I would find you. I'm coming for you. I turned to Vincent, my voice barely a whisper. He's coming. Vincent's face hardened. Who exactly is he? He was curious. I bit back my tears. James. His name is James Wilson. James Wilson? Why does that name sound familiar? Vincent replied. I stared at Vincent. You know him? My voice cut through as I snapped at him. You knew James? Vincent blinked, then frowned, like I just asked him to solve a riddle with a gun to his head. Gosh. I needed him to be smart right now. I didn't say I knew him. I said his name sounded familiar, I snapped, cutting him off, storming to the bookshelf and yanking out my old laptop. You said it sounded familiar, like you were trying to remember your old childhood dog's name. Don't gaslight me now, Vincent. Don't you dare. I was fuming at this point. He took a step back as I slammed the laptop on the table and fired it up with shaking hands. My breath came in short, forced breathing. I hadn't looked at this account in years, but I remembered the password. Vincent hovered behind me, lips paused. Watching. The screen lit up. I pulled up the old photo, the one of James smiling like the sun was his best friend. His hair messier than I remembered. I turned the screen towards Vincent. This is the James Wilson I'm talking about. Look at him. His face changed instantly. From uncertainty to recognition. He exhaled sharply. Shit. That's him. So you do know him? My voice cracked. What the hell, Vincent? Have you been lying to me this entire time? Are you working with him? Is this, I gesture wildly to our apartment, our life, my safety, some kind of trap? Are you trying to drag me back into whatever hell I crawled out of? No. His voice was louder than I had ever heard it, his hands shooting up to block me. Good for him, I was seconds away from smacking him. Leslie, no. Jesus. I'm not in league with anyone. Okay? I stood. Then explain it. Right now. How the hell do you know James exactly? He hesitated. That's betrayal in my book. Why is this happening to me? Vincent. We worked together, he said finally. Years ago. At Cyphertech. I didn't even make the connection until I saw his face just now. He was in a different department. Cybersecurity. Quiet guy. Brilliant, but off. Like he was always running some background code in his head no one else could see. I stared at him, my heart pounding in my chest. And you never thought to mention this? I didn't know he was your James, I swear. And it's not like we were close, only found out his full name because he got into some kind of trouble and people were whispering about it for weeks. What kind of trouble? I asked. Vincent hesitated again. Betrayal. Vincent. He looked me dead in the eye. The kind that makes people disappear. I stared at Vincent, searching for some crack in the story, some sign he was making it all up to keep me from falling apart. But his face was open now and it screamed, I'm telling the truth. I sighed and started to pace the room. What am I going to do? I whispered to myself. Wait. Does Trenton know about James being back? Vincent ran a hand through his hair. I actually reconnected with him a few weeks ago. My heart dropped. What? I didn't know who he was, Leslie, not really. We grabbed a drink, caught up a little. Talked about life. Work. And love. The words sliced into me. Oh no. I know where this is already going. My voice came out cold. And my name came up, huh? He winced. It wasn't like that. We were just talking. About people who left marks. I told him I've been in love once, that I still was, maybe. And he asked questions. I didn't use your name at first, I swear. He was panicking. Good. But you told him eventually. I said deadpan. His silence was all the answer I needed. I took a step back, like his confession had physically pushed me. You told him, I whispered. You told James about me. I didn't know he was that James, plus you have to admit, it's not like you went into details of who he was. You only talked about him in bits and pieces. Vincent said again, quietly, I never would have said anything if I knew. But you did, I snapped. You told some guy from your past about me, about feelings you knew I would never return. And now that guy turns out to be my first love, the one I spent years trying to forget. The one who broke me in ways you saw, Vincent. He looked like I had slapped him. I wish I had, honestly. I kept going. How could you do that? How could you hand pieces of me to someone you barely knew anymore? How could you talk about me like I was some shared memory between you? I didn't mean to hurt you, he said quietly. Leslie. Well, congratulations, I said. You did. I need space, I said, my voice shaking. Don't talk to me for a while. I need to think. Vincent opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, to explain, to fix it, but then he closed it again. Nodded once. Barely. I turned to walk to my room, but I changed my mind. You know what? I don't feel safe here, I'm going back to my parents. The look on his face. God. Well. Serves him right for what he did. I stood at the front door, suitcase in hand, ready to leave when Vincent's voice broke through. Just stay till morning, Leslie, he said, voice quiet, careful. Like he was walking barefoot over broken glass. It will be safer in daylight. Safer? The irony. I turned to him, arms folded across my chest. You gave him my name, Vincent. You gave him my life. I didn't know. No, I cut him off. You didn't think. He opened his mouth to argue, but I turned my back already. I slept in the guest room. Or tried to. My body refused rest, I was tossing and turning all night. James. The name alone made my chest feel like an anxiety attack. He was dead. He was supposed to be dead. But now he wasn't. And that changes everything. By the time it was morning, Vincent was gone. Coward. I locked the front door out of habit. Though it didn't matter anymore. I was halfway down the hall with my bag when the knock came. 3 times. Firm. No hesitation. I froze. My heart pounding. It couldn't be. But I already knew it was. I walked towards the door. And then I opened it. James. Alive. Standing there like he hadn't shattered my world and vanished into thin air all those years ago. Same eyes. Same crooked smile. However did I fall for this? I found myself asking. His suit was black. Neat. Unlike his appearance. "Leslie," he said. "Miss me?" I should have slammed the door. I should have screamed. Instead, I stood there, barely breathing. "I just need a few minutes to talk to you," he said. I swallowed the fear in my throat. "You shouldn't be here." "I don't care." He stepped closer, and I stiffened. "No." His eyes darkened just slightly. "Leslie." I knew that tone. It was his "if you know what's good for you, you'll listen to me" tone. 10 minutes, I said, voice firm. "Then you leave." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. 10 minutes is all I need. I stepped aside. And let the past walk straight into the house. He walked in like he belonged. Like no time had passed. Like he hadn't left me. James didn't sit. He stood in the middle of the living room, scanning the place like danger would happen at any time. "Start talking," I said, arms crossed, but scared beyond words. "You look good," he said. I didn't answer. He sighed. "I know you've got questions. I owe you the truth." "The truth?" I laughed, short and sharp. "That you faked your death? Vanished without a word?" "Yeah, James, I've got a few questions." "I didn't fake anything." His jaw clenched. "They came for me, Leslie. People I crossed a long time ago. I had to disappear or they would kill me. And anyone close to me." I didn't want to believe him. But the way he said it, it was too calm. "They?" I asked, my breath caught. "He found out about you," James continued, voice low. "Used you to get to me. That's why I had to vanish. It was the only way to keep you safe." I narrowed my eyes. Who was he exactly? Wanted to believe him. To let myself fall into the fantasy that he left to protect me. But I wasn't that girl anymore. "What?" I snapped when he didn't answer. "Why come back now?" "Because he's coming for you. He's been watching you, Leslie. I've been following him. Tracking his moves. He's closer than ever." His jaw clenched. I couldn't. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, eyes locked on mine. "A man named Corvin. Dangerous. Wealthy. Connected to things that never make the news. He wanted leverage. Thought he could use you to get to me. That's why I left, why I had to stay gone." I took a step back before I could stop myself. He noticed. "I've been keeping tabs on you," he continued, quieter now. "Staying close enough to make sure you were safe. But something changed. Corvin found out you were still important to me. That's why I had to come back." "He's circling back, Leslie." My skin crawled. What the hell? All this time, I thought I was free, moving on. Healing. But he was there. Watching. "You tracked me? I protected you." "No, James," I snapped. "You stalked me. You watched me live my life without you. You let me grieve you. You let me break. And now you're here, talking about enemies and threats and how I'm just, what? A pawn? He stood, too fast. It's not like that. Then what is it? Wait, you used Vincent, it dawned on me. Vincent never wanted to betray me. The guy was the nicest person to walk the earth, and I make him out to be this bad guy. What have I done? But one thing at a time. He paused. And then, as if it was the most reasonable thing in the world, said, the only way to keep you safe is if we're together again. I can control the variables that way. You'll be under my protection. I stared at him. And then I laughed. Loud, bitter, ugly. This whole thing, I said, shaking my head, was just a twisted ploy to get me back. Wasn't it? You and your powerful enemy and your noble little sacrifice. His expression hardened. You think I would make this up? I know you would. I walked to the door and yanked it open. Get out, James. Leslie. Get out before I stop feeling scared and start getting reckless. He didn't move at first. Then his jaw tightened and he stepped past me, pausing just outside the door. Not a good sign. I'll be back for you, he said. No matter what. Then he was gone and my mistake was realized. I need to apologize to Vincent. I can't believe I slapped her. Leslie. I saw her standing there, not helping my rage at all. My hand still tingled. The echo of the slap still ringing in my ears as I marched down the parking lot. People stared at me. I didn't care. Let them stare. Let them judge. I've had enough. Leslie had no business showing her face around my man. He's mine. God, my heart was pounding so hard I felt nauseous. Or maybe that was just the baby throwing in a few kicks for the drama. Trenton, I muttered through clenched teeth as I yanked the car door open and slid inside, slamming it shut. You're lucky I'm not slapping you too. I sat there for a moment, both hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to breathe, trying to not cry, but the hormones were like a damn wave, I couldn't stop it. He kept saying her name in his sleep. Not mine. Hers. Leslie. Like she lived in the corners of his subconscious while I was the one sharing his bed, his child, his everything. I was tired of feeling second best to a woman he swore he was over. And there she was, in the flesh. In a stupid sundress with her stupid calm face. Just existing, like she hadn't left me with a man that didn't care enough. I didn't even remember walking up to her. My feet moved before my brain could catch up. The slap? Automatic. The words? Rage-fueled instinct. And her expression? It was the worst part. Not smug. Not guilty. Just confused. Like I was the crazy one. Maybe I was. I exhaled hard and let my head fall back against the seat. God. I stared at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My cheeks were flushed, eyes wide, breath shallow. I looked unhinged. I needed to calm down. I needed to go home. Why was she confused? Why hadn't she fought back? If she was really still after Trenton, wouldn't she have had something to say? Unless she wasn't the problem, unless he was. My stomach turned again. Not from the baby. This was something sharp. It was time for answers. And Trenton was going to give them to me, whether he was awake or not. By the time I got home, I thought the anger would have gone, but no. I slammed the front door behind me. But no complaints came. Of course. The TV was on in the living room. Trenton was sprawled on the couch, sockless, shirt half tucked, scrolling through his phone like the world was all rainbow and sunshine. I stood there for a second, watching him. Trying to figure out what part of him I ever believed belonged to me. He didn't even glance up. Hey, I snapped. Hey. That was it. Hey. Like I hadn't just slapped his ex across the face in public. Like I wasn't carrying his child. Do you know what you've been saying in your sleep? I walked closer, he didn't look up. I stopped a foot away. You say her name. Leslie. Over and over. Like a freaking lullaby. That made him pause. He blinked once, then set his phone down. Slowly. Finally met my gaze. Okay? Okay? My voice cracked. That's all you have to say? He sighed, head tipping back against the couch cushion. Sophie. I'm tired. I've had a long day. Oh, you're tired? I laughed, not out of joy. The contrary. I'm growing an entire human being, spiraling emotionally, and you're tired? I can't control what I say in my sleep, he said flatly. It doesn't mean anything. But it does. My voice rose. You don't say my name. Ever. Not once. But hers? It's like a goddamn playlist on repeat. He stood up then. Slow. His height suddenly intimidating in that quiet, disappointed way. Sophie. You're blowing this out of proportion. I saw her today, I said, my voice dropping to a venomous whisper. At the mall. That got his attention. His eyes narrowed. What? I slapped her. I didn't flinch. Told her to stay away from Voucher. He blinked once. You what? She deserved it. No, he said, voice now cold, flat. You lost control. Again. My chest squeezed. So you're defending her now? I'm not defending anyone. I'm trying to keep some damn peace around here. You know damn well you should be in jail for shooting her, but here you are still looking for trouble after all I did to get you out of it. And what about me? My voice trembled. What about peace for me? He looked at me like I was some child that was out of control. Then, he shook his head. You know what, Sophie? I can't do this right now. And just like that, he walked past me. No apology. No explanation. No warmth. The door shut behind him. Not slammed. Not rushed. Just closed. Final. I stood in the center of the room, surrounded by the silence he left behind. Then I felt it. A kick. Another one, but somehow it was different to what I normally feel. Hospital. Now. I whispered to myself as I snatched my keys and walked out as well. I rehearsed it a dozen times on the drive, how I would apologize to Vincent, but words failed me even as I continued my shopping. I turned the corner near the escalators and saw a familiar face. No. Not her. Not Sophie. She stood in front of me smug. The same woman who turned my marriage into wreckage. I started to walk past, but she blocked my path. Still haven't learned to stay in your lane, huh, Leslie? She spat. I blinked. Excuse me? And then. Crack. The slap came out of nowhere. My face stung. People turned. Gasps echoed through the crowd. You stay away from Trenton, she hissed, eyes blazing. What? I took a step back, hand to my cheek. I haven't even, what are you talking about? I tried to talk, but her back was already turned like a woman whose mission was complete. What? I was genuinely confused. Then I walked away. Heart pounding. Palms shaking. Vincent's gift still in my hand. This apology better be damn good, because now I had a scandal to explain too. I barely remembered the drive home. My cheek still burned from the slap, and the humiliation from it all. I think I'm going to remember till Jesus comes. I stepped into the house. The lights were already on. I froze in the doorway. Les? His voice came from the living room. His expression was shocked and pleased? I couldn't tell. I thought you went to your parents, he said, stepping toward me. You said. I know, I cut in, my throat dry. I lied. I needed space. I wasn't thinking straight, and I thought if I just had time to cool off, I could figure out how to say this right. He tilted his head, searching my face. I'm sorry, I blurted. For not trusting you. For assuming the worst. I should have asked. I should have known better. I stepped forward, holding out the box like a peace offering. I thought you were hiding something. But the only thing you were hiding was how good you are. And I don't know how I got so damn lucky, but I want to be a better friend. For you. Vincent didn't speak right away. Then he reached out and pulled me into him, no lecture, no cold shoulder, just warmth and. How can a guy be this cool? I was scared I had lost you, he murmured into my hair. You didn't, I said against his chest. You won't. We stood like that for a few quiet seconds. Then. Knock, knock, knock. I stiffened. Vincent pulled back slowly, brows drawing together. I even thought James was back. I shuddered at the thought. Expecting someone? I asked. No. I walked to the door, cautious. And when I opened it, I was surprised. Trenton. And worse? He looked desperate. Leslie, he said. We need to talk. I scoffed. I didn't move. Neither did he. Leslie, just give me 5 minutes. No. My voice was flat. Cold. The opposite of what I used to be around him. You don't get 5 minutes. You don't even get 5 seconds. His mouth parted like he was about to play the victim again. Classic Trenton. A bastard. But I cut him off with a glare. I don't care what you think we need to talk about. I don't care what Sophie told you, or what you think I want. I want nothing to do with you. He looked like he hadn't expected that. Good. You made your choice, I continued, voice shaking, but I wasn't going to back down. And I made mine. You don't get to show up here like this. Not anymore. Then I did what I should have done the day he walked out of our marriage. I slammed the door in his face. Vincent was quiet in the hallway. Watching. But he didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I walked past him, straight to the kitchen. I turned on the stove. Pulled out the chicken I planned to fry. Something normal. I chopped. Seasoned. Poured oil into the pan. But my mind, it wouldn't shut up Sophie. Trenton. In the same day? What kind of cruel joke was that? I could still hear Sophie's voice in the mall. Still see Trenton's eyes at the door. Still feel the sting on my cheek, the embarrassment I felt. I reached for the pan distractedly, my brain miles away. And the oil popped. Exhilarating pain shot up my arm, splashing across my forearm and onto my side. I screamed, clutching my skin. The pan clanged onto the floor. Vincent was there in seconds, yelling my name, grabbing a towel, cursing under his breath. I wasn't thinking, I gasped in pain. I wasn't, God, it hurts. I got you, he said, holding me gently. Let me see. We need to cool it down, now. Better, let's get you to the hospital. Tears burned down my face. As Vincent attempted to cook the burn down enough to travel to the hospital. As we stepped out of the house, Trenton was still there, sitting on the porch like a homeless person. He matched up to us with no emotion on his face. You have to listen to me, Leslie, or you'll learn the hard way. Vincent was torn between leaving me and punching him. What the fuck, man, she told you to stay away. He's coming for you and you know he always get what he wants, Trenton said and walked off. What? Vincent and I exchanged a look and I regret not telling him about James' visit yet. The doctor treated my burn efficiently and it felt like there was no pain there in the first place. As we were about to leave the hospital, I realized I left my purse behind. I'll be right back. I told Vincent. But, as I turned the corner, I saw Sophie in a deep conversation with a doctor. The paternity test came out like you asked. Trenton is not the father as you suspected. The doctor told Sophie, and she had no emotion on her face. My eyes widened from where I stood. Say what now? I whispered and gently backed into the room. I waited until the bandages were off and the burning sting in my arm turned to a dull throb before I told Vincent. We were sitting on the couch. The news was playing low in the background, half a bowl of popcorn between us, and Vincent had just cracked a smile at something stupid I said. And I ruined it. There's something I need to tell you, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. His smile disappeared, suddenly serious. What is it? I hesitated. James came to see me. The other day. Before everything. His jaw locked up instantly. What did he want? To talk. But not the friendly kind. I looked away, in shame. He said some things. Made veiled threats. I didn't tell you because I thought maybe I was overreacting, or that he wouldn't come back. Vincent didn't speak for a long second. His eyes went dark. Calm. Calculated. And that scared me more than if he had yelled. You should have told me sooner. I know, I said. I just didn't want to make things worse. He exhaled, rubbing his jaw like a man making a decision. Don't worry about James. I know what I'm going to do about him. I looked at him. What does that mean? He just stood up and offered me his hand. It means you're safe now. Come on. You need rest. We went to bed early that night, said our goodnight and went to our rooms. The house was dark. Silent. Until it wasn't. Crack. The sound of the floors creaking pulled me out of sleep in an instant. I sat up, breath caught in my throat. Then I heard it footsteps. Inside. Inside the house. My bedroom door creaked open. And there he was. James. Eyes wild like a man drunk on drugs. Hair brought. Breathing hard like an animal. He crossed the room in seconds and reached for me, and I was about to scream when the voice came. Get off her, said Frock behind him. Vincent. Not groggy. Not confused. Fully awake. Fully focused. Like a soldier. Why haven't I seen this side of him? He tackled James from behind, dragging him off me, slamming him into the floor with precision. James fought back, but he never stood a chance. Vincent moved fast, brutal, twisting his arm, pinning his knee into his back, grabbing something from the nightstand. Zip ties. Thought I wouldn't be ready? Vincent growled. James screamed. But it was useless. Seconds later, flashing red and blue lights lit up the front of the house. The cops stormed in, and just like that, it was over. James was dragged out in cuffs, still screaming my name like I ever want to hear it again. I stood in the hallway, shaking. Vincent walked up to me, eyes softening as he reached out. You okay? I nodded, barely. You were standing there, watching, going to let him take me, I whispered. No, Vincent said. I was going to stop him. And I did. I nodded and wrapped my arms around myself as I sat on the edge of the couch, Vincent just a few feet away, arms crossed, watching everything like a hawk. A detective stepped forward, flipping his notepad closed. I need you to confirm something for me, Miss Leslie, he said, crouching slightly so we were eye level. Who exactly is James Wilson to you? I took a shaky breath. He was an old lover. We went to college together. He helped me get a job when I first moved out here. I trusted him, we loved each other, my voice wavered. Until he started acting weird. Saying things. Watching me. He got angry when told him I felt unsafe. And then, everything changed. He simply disappeared, but not before breaking me. Vincent's jaw flexed beside me. The detective nodded. Thank you for your honesty. You don't have to worry about James anymore. I blinked at him. Why? Because we've been looking for him for a long time, Detective said grimly. James Wilson is tied to at least 7 open investigations across 3 states. Stalking, breaking and entering, assault, even attempted abduction. We just never had enough to nail him, until tonight. My stomach dropped. Tonight? I echoed. He broke into your home with intent to kidnap you, possibly worse. And thanks to your partner's quick thinking, we've got him dead to rights. The detective's eyes darkened. James Wilson is going away for the rest of his life. I exhaled shakily, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a sense of peace. What happens next? I asked. We'll need your full statement tomorrow. After that, we'll keep you updated on the case. But for now, get some rest. You're safe. Safe. The word I longed to hear. Detective stood, gave Vincent a nod of respect, then left with the rest of the officers. I turned to Vincent. Did you know he was going to try this? I knew something was off the second you said he showed up out of nowhere, he said. Guys like that don't knock. They lurk. And they wait. Thank you, I whispered. For everything. He looked at me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. Always, he mused for a minute, but, just so you know. They're going to get Trenton and Sophie too. My eyes widened. What? I didn't hear the knock. It was the bang. The door crashed open and before I could blink, the house was full with uniforms, guns drawn, voices barking commands over each other. Trenton. Hands where we can see them. What the? I froze, instinctively lifting my hands. 1 second I was scrolling through texts, the next, I had the full weight of law enforcement crashing into my living room. Sophie! I shouted. What the hell is going on? Trenton, she whimpered. My stomach sank. This wasn't a mistake. And then I saw him. Officer Ramirez, my oldest friend on the force, stepping in behind the others. His face was hard. Distant. Like he didn't even recognize me. Ramirez? My voice pitched up. What is this? He didn't answer. Just gave the others a curt nod. 2 officers came at me, one cuffing my wrists behind my back before I had time to process it, the other reading me my rights like we were in some kind of twisted movie. I didn't resist. I couldn't. Then Sophie started screaming. Wait, no, no. What are you doing? They were cuffing her too. What the hell? I tried lunging forward, but the officer behind me yanked me back. Why are you arresting her? She was sobbing, struggling like she didn't understand, but I did. I just didn't want to believe it. My heart pounded as I looked at Ramirez. This has to be a mistake, I told him, voice low. Urgent. You know what happened. You helped me cover it, back then. With Sophie. With Leslie. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Not at first. Things changed, Trent, he said finally. His voice didn't carry any emotion. It's out of my hands now. What does that even mean? I hissed. You said it was handled. That it would disappear. That was before, he said quietly, before the investigation reopened. Before they pulled surveillance. Before they found out you knew. That you helped her. I didn't help her, I snapped. She was falling apart, pregnant, panicking. I did what I had to do. Exactly. He looked me straight in the eye now. And that's called aiding and abetting, Trenton. Sophie cried harder behind me, struggling as they led her toward the door. Trenton, don't let them take me. Everything was going wrong. And all I could do was watch as the woman I stayed for, the woman I protected, was dragged away right beside me. And somewhere in the silence that followed, I realized, maybe Ramirez was right. everyone pays, eventually. They uncuffed me just long enough to drag me through booking, then shoved me into a hold-diner room. No clock. No windows. It wasn't until they pulled me back out that I saw her. Leslie. She was sitting across the hall, calm as ever. A detective sat beside her, nodding slowly as she spoke. Her posture was perfect. Her expression unreadable. She looked untouchable. My chest tightened. No blood. No bruises. No evidence of trauma from the shooting. So why the hell was she here? One of the officers guiding me slowed down just enough for me to get a longer look, like they wanted me to see her. And then it clicked. Not all at once, but in pieces. Ugly, snapping pieces. James. That bastard. Leslie's first love. And I, stupid, loyal Trenton, had given him information months ago. Back when Leslie first went dark and James came sniffing around. He told me he just wanted closure. I believed him. I gave him her last known address. Told myself I was doing Leslie a favor. Clearing out her ghosts. But James wasn't closure. He was chaos. And now it was hitting me, that's what they meant by aiding and abetting. Not Sophie. Not just her. Him. I helped a criminal find her. And now she was giving a statement. I almost laughed. Before the officers could yank me past the room, Leslie looked up. She stood slowly, stepped to the door, and gestured to one of the guards. "Give us a moment, please." They hesitated. She leaned in close. I stared at her. Still beautiful. Still dangerous. "You want to know something else, Trenton?" Her voice was sharp. "That baby Sophie's carrying?" My breath hitched. "It's not yours." I blinked. "What?" Her smile widened, tight, smug, victorious. "Do the math." And then she turned on her heel and walked away. I didn't say anything. Didn't scream. Didn't chase. I just stood there, cold and cuffed with one realization. I was going down. I sighed the moment I stepped into the apartment. I knew he was here. "Oh. I'm tired." I mumbled as I walked back into the kitchen. Now that I think about it, he was always there, even when I told him I couldn't reciprocate his feelings. When I mistook his actions from betrayal. I saw him and I lost all reasonable excuses. His shirt slightly damp with sweat, sleeves rolled up, scrubbing down the counter. He did like his space clean. I chuckled lightly as I remembered a passing joke about calling him a neat freak. "He looks hot," I thought to myself as I got closer. I didn't say a word. Just walked up, grabbed him by the collar, and kissed him. I didn't think, I just leaned in. My fingers found the edge of his jaw, rough with stubble. He looked at me like he already knew. Like he had been waiting for this moment as long as I had. And then I kissed him. It wasn't tentative. It was full and certain and slow, like I was pouring everything I couldn't say into that one moment. His mouth met mine in a way that made my knees weak. I could taste the last thing he said, feel the tension leave his shoulders as he kissed me back, deeper, hungrier. I moaned into the kiss as I felt it deep within me. His tongue teased mine and I was glad I chose this moment to happen. When his hand came to rest at the small of my back, pulling me closer, I melted completely. Like I belonged nowhere else but right here. And for once, I didn't care if we fell apart tomorrow. Right now, kissing Vincent felt like everything. Not just any kiss. He kissed me back with all the heat and hunger and aching relief. When we finally came up for air, his eyes searched mine. "Leslie." "I'm starting to feel it too," I whispered, my voice steady. "Whatever this is, I'm not fighting it anymore." Vincent blinked, and then his whole face lit up. I had never seen him smile like that. This one was pure, unbridled joy. "You have no idea how long I have waited to hear that from you," he said, brushing a strand of hair from my cheek like I was something fragile and precious. I leaned in again, because I couldn't not kiss him. Because now that I had started, stopping felt impossible. He was addicting. He pulled me close, arms tight around my waist, and kissed me like he meant it, like he always had. When we broke apart again, I rested my forehead against his and whispered, "Thank you, for not giving up on me." "I never could," he murmured. "You're it for me, Les." And just like that, something inside me settled. Maybe for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I didn't feel forgotten, no. I felt cherished. Needed. And I love it. Today's story is over. Thank you all for listening.